Welcome back. It's Dr. Jen Boney, better known as DocJenFit, your doctor of physical therapy. And I want to go over some things that you can do for spinal stenosis. Now you'll see that I have a foam roller here, but we're not going to do regular foam rolling. So you'll have to stay tuned for how we use this foam roller to really help your body. Now, if you want to understand a little bit more about spinal stenosis and just how common it is as we age, I would highly recommend checking out our podcast all about it. We have a video podcast about it, so you can look at what we say, what the research is saying, and what other exercises we really think are best to help support what is happening within the body naturally. Now, because it is so natural, I want you to understand you don't have to have fear around it. And the only way that we can help to support our body is creating a resilient body. And the way that we need to do that is by getting strong. Strength is so important. I talk about mobility a lot on my page here, and you can check out all the videos to help improve mobility, but we also get to be strong within our body. And so making sure that we have the support within our body that we can start to do exercises and feel okay with that is really crucial. And one thing I want you to not really fear at all is the deadlift. The best thing that we can do is help to support our hip hinge, making sure that we're moving from our hips so that we feel better stabilized within the spine as we're moving weight and load. So I'm going to use the foam roller here to help create that space in the back of my pelvis, kind of opening up around my pelvic floor, around my glutes, so that when I do movement, I can maybe move in a different way that you might have been taught to hinge into your hips. That's going to take some pressure off of your low back. So we're going to use this foam roller here, and I'm going to put it underneath my knees. Now I'm using what's called an IntelliRoll. This is my favorite foam roller that I've used for years now, and I use it with all my clients just because of the way that it's designed and contoured around the body. It's really supportive if you're actually foam rolling. However, if you don't have a foam roller, you can use 2 yoga blocks that you're stacking up. You can just use a regular foam roller, and it's just going to help to support the knees right now. So we want our knees to be on a higher elevated surface, and then I'm going to put my elbows down lower. Now, what we're going to start to understand and create in the body is how we sit back without hyperextending through the low back. So I actually want to press my elbows into the ground. When I push my elbows into the ground, it's going to kind of naturally shift my rib cage back where my pelvis is. And then I want to shift back to where I feel comfortable without rounding in my spine. So I'm not going to be rounded, but I'm going to be pressing and then hinging back just to where you feel comfortable. From here, you want to take really big, deep breaths. So I'm going to take a really big inhale, filling up that rib cage. Exhale and feel like you can push back into those hips just a little bit more. So you want to think like the bones that are coming here out from your hips are almost pushing back out of your bottom. We're opening up the space in the back of that bum. You can even take those feet out to the sides just a little bit. That's going to bias you into a little bit more hip internal rotation as we breathe and hinge back into those hips. Taking a deep breath in, breathing out, and you'll do 5 really slow, big breaths like this, opening up the back of that pelvic floor, the glutes, so that we help to be able to hinge better into those hips without putting too much pressure on the spine. And then we'll go up and stand and start to understand how we can move a little differently for that hip hinge. So now we're going to use this foam roller to see how that translates a little bit more into movement and getting into that deadlifting position. So I'm going to wrap my arms around this foam roller. So you can have your hands wrapped, or you can have your arms just kind of like hugging in. And you want to think of that same motion of opening up from that rib cage, pressing the elbows down into the ground to really shift that rib cage back over my pelvis. What tends to happen as we learn a hip hinge and how to properly hinge is that you have something kind of like a dowel behind your head, right? And it's stacking up behind you, keeping you really straight. And then you're told to deadlift this way. Well, what that does, it puts a lot of tension into our low back, into this extension type pattern. And we actually don't want to be here, and that can put a lot more tension and pressure onto your back if you do have something like spinal stenosis. So instead, we're going to take the foam roller, we're going to shift how we've been moving. So have your feet directly underneath you in a comfortable position. And then you're going to, as you hinge back and bend the knees, you want to think of, again, those hip bones shooting straight back behind you as your elbows come down to the ground. So we're going to inhale, thinking of opening those glutes and the pelvic floor as I come down. Exhale as I come back up. So it's going to look like this. Inhaling, breathing in and pressing those elbows toward the floor, pushing your hips back. You bend in the knees to what's comfortable for you. And then exhale to stand. Inhale, wrap those elbows forward. Rib cage opens and comes back. Exhale. This is going to help so that we're moving better into those hips rather than the low back, and come up. So as I shoot my hips back, I want to think of my knees starting to bend here. Okay. This is how I'm going to go into that deadlift position more and then press up from the ground. And instead of hyperextending into my low back again, I'm just going to think of breathing out and pushing the ground straight down. As I press the ground straight down, I'm going to come up to a fully standing position rather than, again, hyperextending and putting more pressure and tension into that low back. So elbows drive down. Breathe in, push the ground away. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out. Okay. And make sure you're not looking up too much as you breathe in on the way down, or else again, we turn on our back muscles more. So allow your gaze to come straight down as you move those elbows up, breathing in and hugging around, getting that rib cage to come straight back. It's going to help put you in a better position so you feel more confident lifting a little bit more weight so that you continue to keep that spine strong as we age. Now, if you want me to help lead you into these strengthening based exercises while improving your mobility, maintaining your core strength, and activating your muscles, I highly recommend our 30 days of mobility and strength program that we have on Gen Health. I'm going to walk you through exactly what to do on a day-to-day basis to help you safely progress and improve your strength within your body. Don't forget, if you love what you're learning, I have so much more in stock for you. So hit that subscribe button, check out the other videos I've done in the past, and leave any comments of any suggestions that you have for videos in the future. And I can't wait to help you feel incredible and amazing within your body.